And you and I are both admirers, lovers. I certainly see myself, and I think you do. We've talked about it many times off camera. We see ourselves as part of the Kingian tradition in this country. I'm in my car on the way to the studio just an hour or so ago, listening to some King stuff. And I brought the CD in. I want to play a clip from you. This is King speaking at a church in your hometown in 1966, talking about his own fear for his own life. As you know, he didn't talk about this very often in public, but here he is in a church in Chicago, Dateline 1966, Barack Obama's hometown, the words of Dr. King. Take a listen. I want to ask you something about this.
They started making nasty telephone calls, and it came to the point that some days more than 40 telephone calls would come in, threatening my life, the life of my family, the life of my children. I took it for a while in a strong manner, but I never will forget one night very late. It was around midnight, and you can have some strange experiences at midnight.
He goes on to talk about the fear for his own life. This, of course, King speaking about Montgomery, Alabama, when he was leading the movement there. I thought about listening to that and thought about you on the way to the studio, wondering how it is that you process that. And so you led me into it when you suggested, as Michelle has, your wife suggested, that black folks should not be afraid to vote for you because what they think might happen to you. We know that there's Secret Service all around this studio right now. Other candidates don't have that because of threats against your life. How are you dealing with that, seriously?
You know, it is not something I think about. Now, I mean, part of what I listen to that tape is I think about the courage that that man went through, because he didn't have Secret Service protection. And law enforcement in the towns where he was working were against him. Some of them were Klans members. And so I can't even comprehend the degree of courage that was required, and yet look what he did each and every day, getting up, speaking out, marching, leading. And it just reminds me of that tradition where the stuff we go through now, I get called names, right? People call me up, they say, oh, I'm sorry about that bad newspaper article about you. Oh, you know, that review on the debate, that was rough. I thought that was really unfair. I'm thinking, listen, nobody's throwing a brick through my window. You know, and I do think that the country has changed in a profound way. And when I'm traveling through Iowa, which, you know, doesn't have a large African-American population, and you see the responses of people and the crowds we're attracting, you know, you really get a sense that folks are ready to transcend some of these issues. Now, that's not to say that the country is going to be colorblind in this race. Obviously, that will be an issue both for blacks and whites. And one of the things my candidacy has surfaced is, you know, people have some confused views, both in the white community and the African-American community about this. But what it does say is, I think the vast majority of Americans right now, what they want to know is, how are you going to help me hang on to my house now that the subprime lending crisis is in full force? What are you going to do to help me deal with my job now that the plant moved to China? How can I save for my child's college tuition and my own retirement at the same time? And if I can answer those questions effectively in the last few months of this campaign, then we have an excellent chance of getting this nomination.